We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Izuku, he don't live in reality. Shake back, all become a fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing us. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leo Mookie here, back for you with another new part of What If Izuku Can Summon Heroic Spirits. This is part 22. And the last part, Izuku alongside everybody else in Class 1A began with their hero names. As all the names are basically the same except for Izuku. As instead of choosing Deku, he was basically convinced by Sheba not to, and instead use a name that represents his devotion and admirement towards his servants. So he decided to choose the name the guiding hero, Akashic, representing that of the Akashic records. Not only that, Izuku was also asked to meet with that of a pro hero that wanted to have him as an intern, this being a woman by the name its hero name is Lady Archer, or as her real name, her full name being Sakura Emiya, the current head of the Emiya family and agent of the Mage Association. So where would this lead to Izuku now? So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? Well, at UA, Izuku is getting an offer from that of Miss Emiya. However, in another district city of Tokyo, a small city right next to that of Yokohama, being that of Kamino Ward, lies a small hidden bar where barely anybody would notice or even have that of a second glance at. This bar is the current location and hideout for the League of Villains. And in this bar lies that of the only two members of the League currently, Tomura Shigaraki and his partner Kurogiri, or rather, babysitter. And as soon the door opens, entering inside, being that of the infamous and iconic hero killer, Stain, with multiple blades on his sides, a katana on his back, a bandana covering his face, with even his hair quite spiked up too, with also wearing that of a full, somewhat light but full Kevlar armor, with spiked steel-toed boots, with then saying, "So, you told me you wanted me to come here about that of a few days ago, and I've been waiting for this so-called offer you have. So answer me now." With then soon Shigaraki saying, My, aren't you an impatient one? Which, I can understand that, to be honest. I can be impatient as well. With Kurogiri looking at his ward, with then thinking more than can be quite be. With then saying, let's just cut to the chase. I've been told that we want you to join us after all. Now, you got quite a bit of, a following, as much as annoying as it is. Somebody like you that cripples and or basically kills heroes should basically work with a team after all. Within hearing this, Stain was already getting annoyed at this, as he doesn't need to join anybody, but he will test this boy of his convictions, saying, "All right then, what is your reasoning for doing this? What is your convictions?" With then hearing that, Shigaraki couldn't help but scoff, saying, "Like I need any. All I want to do is basically destroy anything that annoys me after all. Especially All Might. I want him gone more than anything." Hearing that, Stain couldn't help but narrow his eyes even more, before bringing up a picture of Izuku, as he won the picture of him when he won that at the sports festival, still having that of a smile on his face and everything, saying, "As for this brat, I want him dead just as much as All Might. Guy's a pain in the ass back at the USJ after all. A game hacking cheater like him needs to die after all." With that was Stain's last straw, saying, I'm guessing I was right. You're no different from any of those fakers too." Within hearing this, Shigaraki couldn't help but narrow his eyes a bit and be a little bit caught off guard, before Stain grabs that of two of his knives on his side, looking like he's about to go into that of an attack stance. Within saying, "You're no different from any of those fakers. What's the meaning of doing what you do if you have no convictions? You're nothing but just you're almost like that of a mindless animal." With then Shigaraki hearing this, seeing them more as that of insults, even though they are, saying, "Is that so?" Within, Kurogiri internally thinking, "Damn it, this isn't what we wanted. We was hoping that Stain would basically guide Tomura Shigaraki, help lead him to a better path for the League. We should have done our research a lot better than this." With then Kurogiri is about to step in, before then a voice from that of the TV being All For One, saying, "No, Kurogiri, let this play out." Within, Kurogiri is caught off guard and shocked by the words of All For One, saying, "The boy won't learn if he doesn't face adversity such as this. To gain that of a following, he needs more than just words alone." With then hearing the words from that of his master, even Shigaraki was caught off guard as well. With then, soon, in a blink of an eye, Kurogiri was basically stabbed in that of his shoulder. Surprisingly, it went through that. It didn't go through that of his body. It didn't go through his body like it should have. Within soon, Stain jumps on that of Shigaraki and stabs him in the shoulder, as he soon basically screams in pain. Back at UA, with Izuku and his servants still on guard at least a little bit. With then, soon Sakura speaking, saying, "Well, I did say it was just an offer. You don't have to, decide to join us or not. After all, it is your choice. I was just making the offer, that's all." With then hearing this, Izuku wanted to know more about that of mages. I mean, sure, he's learned all of his magic craft from his servants, and he's thankful for all of that. But the current age of mages and magic craft, he is way more curious about that. Especially since his servants kept on bringing up the fact that he is a descendant of a mage, or rather, a former master of theirs, after all. As Izuku was about to speak up, within Tsunobu saying, "Hold up, Izuku. Before you even answer that, I want to ask, why are the mages now wanting to get involved with Izuku? I mean, it's been years since Izuku was given the power to access the Throne of Heroes by Alaya." Within hearing this, Sakura was also caught off guard, already knowing what that of Izuku's mission was, and about the person that gave Izuku their power, saying, "Why my? This is surprising. Normally, isn't heroic spirits' memories supposed to be suppressed, especially about their duty and everything else?" Within soon, Sigurd spoke up, saying, that's normally in a Holy Grail War. Our main powers have all our half of our memories, our powers, and many other things would be sealed away temporarily. Given that we're not at our full strength. But then Sky Hatch speaking, saying, "But Izuku has full control over that of the Throne of Heroes, except one thing: he can't summon multiple servants at once from the same class. He can only summon one servant from one class alone. If he wants a different servant from that class, he would need to get rid of us." It happened once back in his younger days, after all. With then, hearing that, Izuku looking down, back then when he awakened one servant, it was during the time when when he summoned Sheba. He originally summoned a caster class servant. However, that caster class servant was actually Caster Gilderay, or Bluebeard, as he was known in history. When he saw Izuku, even though he was basically suppressed by that of the Holy Grail to attack that of his own master, even they knew that having him out would cause quite a bit of a trouble, especially since Izuku wasn't strong enough to handle his servants even with the command seals alone. So, with the help of his other servants, they were able to hold him down and suppress his power for the time being, allowing Izuku to get rid of him before he could cause any trouble. Even if he had been loyal to Izuku, he would have caused more problems than solving them, after all. After getting rid of Gil, he soon summoned Sheba after that day, and she's been with Izuku ever since. As for trying to summon other servants, again, it's impossible. When he thought of basically summoning that of another Saber-class servant, it always disconnected him from the throne, proving that once again, he can only summon one servant from one class after that. And if he wanted to summon that of another Saber, he would have to get rid of that of Sigurd. And since Sigurd is basically like an older brother to him, he wouldn't want to do that. Hell, it's the biggest disappointment and the reason why he can't summon that of Brunhilde, his wife, or even that of Danzo for that of Kotaro, after all. The two things that he feels somewhat down about for the two people that he sees as older brother figures, with then feeling that of the depression from that of Izuku. Medusa comforts Izuku for a bit by wrapping at least two of her snake hairs around his body. But instead of constricting him, it's more of a comforting hold. Seeing this, Sakura couldn't help but be shocked and surprised, while also being somewhat grateful about the kindness and love and caring that they have for Izuku. Even more shocked at that of a Avenger-class servant, one of the few classes that never should have existed, is actually a lot more tame than should be, actually, and given the legends and lore about them. With then saying, even if you don't join me, I think there's little then you need to know. But if you do want to intern under me, I'll teach you everything that you need to know about the Mage Association. And I'll also help you in your little, Hero Public Safety Commission little dilemma, I'm guessing. With then hearing that, they even become on guard once again. With then soon Kotaro saying, "How do you know about this?" With then, she couldn't help but smirk a bit, saying, The Hero Public Safety Commission is one of the few government branches across the world that we have trouble with dealing with. They try having a chokehold over that of the Hero Society here in Japan. Try to control on how heroes should act in public, how they should deal with heroes, but in reality, all they do is basically use their own heroes, their own government-sanctioned, publicly sponsored heroes, as their little assassins, after all. Lady Nagant and Hawks, for example. You've dealt with them, right? With then hearing this, with soon Scott Hatch speaking up on that of Sheba's behalf, saying, yes, we have. Hawks was basically made to keep an eye on us since that of our master has basically gone against each and every one of their offers given to us. From asking nicely to that of threatening, blackmailing, attempted murder. Within soon Kotaro speaking and saying they even brought out one of their oldest agents that basically they put in Tartarus to come back and work for them to kill Izuku. They even gave that of a fake backstory and try to manipulate her to killing him and that of his own mother. With hearing that, Kotaro couldn't help but actually feel quite pissed with even his flames begin to basically emerge on that of the left side of his hand, with Izuku coming down that of the evil wind shinobi. Within, Sakura basically scoffing, saying, figures, they would do this. But the Mage Association could basically get involved in this. For example, the HBSC still answers to that of the Prime Minister and many other, and also those of higher other cabinets as well. The Mage Association has full control, has full autonomy and control over the Japanese government and a few other governments that have that of an importance, lore, and history in that of magic. After all, especially for mages, Japan is one of the biggest spots for magic. After all, given how many ley lines are here. With then hearing that, Sigurd saying, so the Mage Association has that much power. You would think with the emergence of quirks, they would basically be weakened. With then Sakura couldn't help but laugh, saying, you would think that, right? But no, we still have so much power. Mainly, our main duty is to make sure that a Holy Grail War doesn't happen. Even a servant that power is basically half in is still pretty dangerous than your average hero and villain. In the past Holy Grail Wars, especially in that of the 4th and 5th Holy Grail Wars, has been one of the most, frustrating of all time. Especially in the 5th Holy Grail War. There were so much complications in that one. And then when they tried to create that of the 6th Holy Grail War, that was during the time when quirks emerged. A lot of people believe that. Back during that time, many mage families believed that humans were basically began to learn the ways of using magic craft. And because they didn't have full control over their magic craft, they were just causing quite a bit of trouble. And even normal people began to see quirk individuals as monsters. It also didn't help that there were a few heroic spirits during this time that also were seen as threats. Same thing goes for masters. Several masters died to those who feared quirks, which caused the Holy Grail War to basically, self-destruct in a way. Because each master died, and since no one could basically take the wish, you saw what. Then any of you knows what happens to the Grail if it's left alone for too long. Noticing this, all the servants couldn't help but wince a little bit, even feeling somewhat, worried. So during that time, the Mage Association basically destroyed that Grail since it was too dangerous after all. And since there wasn't a winner, nobody could take the wish. And it was too dangerous to just be left to be controlled. So there was only one option: destroy it. And since then, all Holy Grail Wars have been outlawed by that of the Mage Association. Any signs that a Holy Grail War is basically about to commence, The Mage Association makes sure to seal it away before it could fully materialize. Let's just say the voices of Alaya and even Gaia weren't too happy about that. Even the grit, and especially a certain heroic spirit that was known to be the corruption of the Holy Grail itself. With then all the servants couldn't help but speak, saying, "Unger mind you." With then Izuku hearing that name couldn't help but feel somewhat, well, shivering. Just hearing the name alone just made him scared. But then Sakura saying, "Exactly." So that was another reason on why Holy Grail Wars were also outlawed as well. After order was basically brought back together with some quirk individuals and quirkless people living in somewhat harmony, well, the Mage Association began to be the ones to keep order in check, well, by helping out certain governments. The Japanese government, the Chinese government, that of the French, the UK, and even that of Brazil as well. The association's main priority was to help governments that had that of the longest history that are connected to magic. Even though America may have been one of the biggest superpowers in the world, even when the emergence of quirks, they still didn't have that much of a history when it came to magic after all. They were still a young nation, but even so, we were still able to help them rebuild. But with the Mage Association now having more control over the world than expected, and even having that of mage families help out in and that of the reconstruction of society too. But there were some complications. Mainly villains, after all, and especially one villain that kind of is always an annoyance, trying to figure out about that of mage's quirks, even though only a few mage families have quirks after all. With that, Izuku thinking, could it be all for one? With then shaking his head saying, so that's the reason. Saying, yep, it's the reason on why if you join my agency and intern with me, I'll take care of the whole Public Hero Safety Commission dilemma and also help out in other things as well. I'm guessing, and since Lady Nagana is out and seeing that she's possibly helping you guys out too, I can help out in that situation as well. So, also in return, you guys can basically show me and tell me about each one of your servants, just in case they go rogue or you go rogue. After all, knowing your legends is the best way to keep you in check. It's mainly to help. But don't worry, this knowledge will only be entrusted to those who are truly trusted. We all know that there are some mages that do want to start the Holy Grail War again after all, but we're making sure that doesn't happen. So, what will you all say? With then hearing the offer, with soon Izuku saying, I want to know more about magecraft and the mage families here in Japan as well. With then hearing this from the Greenette, with soon Secret saying, Izuku, then saying, you guys have helped me so much, learning how to use magicraft, how to fight, how to use weapons and everything like that. I'm thankful. But now, I want to know more about mages. I want to know more about magicraft in this world that we live in. I may have connection to the throne, but I want to know more about magic itself and the history behind it. If it means giving up it, and not only that, I know what you guys probably want to do. You guys want to get rid of the Hero Public Safety Commission. Within hearing that, all of them couldn't help but be shocked. With then, soon, Scott had saying, how did you... With then saying, what? You guys have all... When it comes to looking after me, you guys do end up going to the extremes after all. Even when I give you orders without using a command seal, you guys still go to the extreme. With then hearing that, all of them couldn't help but nod and accept it. With even, however, Medusa basically scoffing, saying, "We're just doing our job. You should be grateful for that." With Izuku saying, "And I am, Medusa, truly. But even so, I don't want to basically just cause the most amount of damage just because it'd be satisfying and I would be perfectly safe. Sometimes a subtle approach, even with even a little bit more restrictions, are helpful as well. And besides, like I said, I'm really more curious about the mage community of our world, with Izuku having that of a pretty curious but also somewhat innocent smile on his face, eyes closed and everything, with then Sigurd removing that of his mask, couldn't help but sigh before saying, "All right, fine, well, I'll accept it." With then soon even Nobu actually couldn't help but also sigh as well, saying, "Fine, fine. We'll accept it too. I'll accept it too. But as your big sister, I'll be the one basically keeping an eye on you your entire internship. So you got it?" With Izuku saying, "Yes, yes, I got it, Nobu." With, however, for Scott Hatch, and alongside that of that Medusa as well, they couldn't help but blush at Izuku's smile, with then just giving in to that of Izuku's demands. As for Kotaro, on the other hand, saying, "I can accept that," but with then soon bringing out one of his kunais, as he soon throws it towards that of Sakura. Within, Izuku saying, "Kotaro, what are you?" With then, in her hands, she says, "Trace on." As two Chinese Dao blades appear in her hands, he soon basically blocks the kunai without even batting an eye. With then, Izuku was completely caught off guard, especially seeing the Chinese swords, as he's seen them before, but he's never been able to materialize them when using projection magicraft. But she was able to do so without even breaking a sweat. With then soon both Scott Hatch, alongside that of Kotaro, and even Sigurd couldn't help but scoff. Before then soon Sigurd saying, "Huh, you did that just to test she has it, doesn't she?" Within, Kotaro nodding, saying, as then Izuku saying, What was that for, Kotaro? You just thrown a kunai at a pro hero." Within, Kotaro looking at Izuku, with his eyes still covered by his hair, saying, "I did it to see if she truly is his descendant after all. You can just say you're an Emiya, but it wouldn't be the truth unless you had it." With then Izuku saying, "Have what?" With then Scott Hatch speaking up, saying, "The Emiya family are known for that of two brands of magic. The first form of magic is that of gunsmithing magicraft, known by the original mage killer, Kiritsugu Emiya. He called it his origin rounds. Basically, a bullet that destroys a person's magic circuits, but not completely, more like cripples the connection between the mage and the circuits. As for the second, it being from that of the adopted child of the Emiya family, the one that we know all too well, his own personal form of magicraft that he basically learned himself on complete and total accident, mainly because he didn't know how to use it, to be honest, called tracing magicraft, an enhanced form of a magicraft that basically enhances other forms of magicraft, such as projection and reinforcement magicraft as well. And it seems she's not lying. She truly does know tracing, with then having that of a smug smile, as soon she dematerializing that of the sword, saying, "Yep, I saw that you were able to use projection magicraft as well, Midoriya. However, when I saw you creating those weapons, I can even through that of a TV screen, I can tell that there's barely any form of magicraft inside of them, even though they're basically replicas of great weapons from from that of heroic spirits in the throne, right? Within, Izuku nodding, saying, yeah, I can't mimic their minor noble phantasms or whatever or whatever magic craft that's basically a part of them. I can only just create the weapons and use them any way I can. Simple as that. Within, she couldn't help but have that of a pharaoh grin, saying, and this is exactly what I've been wanting for a while now. How about we amp up? How about I offer my own reasoning as well? Besides wanting you to be part of my being an intern with me, not for the Mage Association and also for the HPS in dealing with the HPSC, and not just learning more and more about the mage community, I'll teach you how to use tracing magic craft. How does that sound? If you use tracing on your projections, we'll also connect the weapons connected to that of the Throne of Heroes. You'll be able to mimic the magic craft and noble phantasms that are basically within the weapons as well. I won't lie, doing tracing magic with that will put a lot of strain on your body, but given who you've been training with, I think you'll be able to handle it. So, do we have a deal? Midoriya offering a hand towards Izuku. Within, Izuku still was already convinced as he nods his head, walks over to Sakura and shakes her hand, saying, of course, Lady Archer, I accept your offer. After that, she couldn't help but smile, saying, good, I just need to make a few calls after all. Also, you better get back home too. Don't want to worry your mother, after all. After hearing that, saying, oh, right. And soon, telling his servants to go back in spirit form. As they do so, within opening the door, seeing that of both Nezu and All Might still there. Within, soon saying, seems like you're finished. Have you made your decision, Mr. Midoriya? Within, Izuku saying, yes, actually. I decided to intern with that of Lady Archer, actually. Within, hearing this, All Might saying, I see. I figured you would choose her. Well, I hope you good luck with your internships in the coming days, young Midoriya. Hearing the words of, support from his idol, Izuku couldn't help but feel even more happy and excited as well, as he bows his head saying, thank you, All Might. Soon, after saying that, Lady Archer basically shaking her head saying, we're already aware on how All Might is. Given how many times that he's barely shown up in the public, it only makes sense that the mages would be aware. Also, to feel Nezu not being able to get any of the audio. Nezu couldn't help but sigh, but still having that of his always internal smile, saying, I will say, the HPSC has always been that of a bore's, but when dealing with the Mages Association here in Japan, I always can't help but always want to find a way to one-up you from using that of your magic craft. If you don't mind, I would like to actually ask you about your conversation with Mr. Midoriya. But if you can't give me too much details, at least give me somewhat of an understanding about what's going on. Soon after hearing this, Sakura couldn't help but smile once more as she saying, it's reasons like this is why we actually like to talk to you and not the actual government stooges, Nezu. Come on, let's speak. With that, soon Nezu goes back into his office, with All Might also leaving as well. The same also goes for Izuku. Back with Ida, on the other hand, as the entire Ida family is at the hospital, with Tensei basically leaning back on his bed, with Ida still completely and utterly caught off guard and shocked about all of this, seeing that his brother is looking a lot better than before, saying, how is this possible? Within Tenya and Tensei's mother, Miss Ida speaking, saying, the doctors say that you would never be able to walk again. How? Within, Tensei couldn't help but shake his head in confusion, saying, I'm not sure about. All I did was know that I basically fell asleep and went to bed. And then when I woke up, I could actually feel my legs still a little bit numb and in pain. But other than that, I can basically walk. But they did say, due to my miraculous healing, I am going to need to take at least a little bit of therapy, at least about that of 3 weeks of therapy, before I can go back to using my quirk again and be back in business as Ingenium. With then hearing this, Tenya couldn't help but feel somewhat happy and excited, knowing that his brother, his idol, his true hero, is going to be able to go back to being Ingenium once again, before then looking back on what he was about to do, especially about him planning to take down Stain, to avenge his brother's career, to avenge his life as well. As he wanted to tell Tensei, but then the door to Tensei's room opened up, as it being the doctor that was assigned to him, but saying, see that you're all here. With then saying, as Mrs. Ida saying, yes, but my husband is currently looking after our family agency right now. But he should be here in at least in 2 hours or so. Thing, would you want me to wait? Would you want me to wait? She's saying, no, please, you can tell us. As then the doctor couldn't help but scratch the back of his head, saying, okay then, well, you see, I won't lie, when your brother was stabbed in out of a certain spot and between and his spine, it did sever the connection to his legs. Not entirely to his waist, but even so, it was still the same. We thought that he would never be able to walk again. And once again, we were right. But then, when we did some x-rays to that of the x-rays that we did after surgery, look at his x-rays now. With then, looking at the first one being the before, showing that of one cut through that of his spine. However, it being too small that no surgeon would be able to see without that of a certain quirk that can basically zoom in or understand the body's anatomy. And then the after being with Nightingale using her noble phantasm, it shows that his spine has been completely and utterly healed entirely, with the stab wound to his spine completely gone entirely, like it never was there to begin with. Seeing the differences between the two, within Mrs. Ida saying, what does this mean? Did you all have that of a pro hero or a nurse that was able to find that of the problem for my son and heal him? Within soon the doctor saying, that's the problem. Even if we were able to understand the cut and also his stab wound, it was already too late before we even noticed during surgery. Even if the healing would be impossible. We do have a nurse here and alongside a doctor that has two strong healing quirks, but because it was however, it was after surgery, they wouldn't have been able to heal him or give him back his feeling in his legs. This, on the other hand, was completely and utterly healed entirely. Like there was no damage to his spine whatsoever, even after surgery. In a way, it's almost like the wound, the surgery, all of it never happened to begin with. With hearing that, both Tensei and Tenya couldn't help but feel worried alongside their mother. With Tenya saying, is that even possible? Who could, within the doctor also, once again, saying, we had that of a, break-in here in the hospital about that last night. One of the nurses ended up getting, knocked out and their uniform taken as well. It was a slow night. It was a slow night yesterday as well, given that it was during that was the weekend after all. Normally we're more busy in the mornings and the afternoons, but in the evenings and late nights it gets pretty quiet. even with pro heroes coming in as well. We were able to look through some of the security footage and cameras through the hospital, especially since we don't really have that many, security cameras to begin with. But on the way to your hospital room, we saw a nurse that not only did not work here and did not look familiar, but was also wearing a uniform that was too small for her as well. So we kind of figured that this may have been the intruder. And possibly, we've even made some comparisons and theories that she's the one that may have been involved. So, not only that, Tensei Ida, Pro Hero Ingenium, you weren't the only one that was healed as well. With then hearing all this, the Ida family could not but be shocked, as the doctor continued saying, throughout your entirety of your ward, a lot of injured pros, civilians, and even a few other important people on this floor were also healed as well. Injuries that were either life-threatening or quite, severe that would change their lives forever. To be honest, this woman who snuck in here might have been a vigilante trying to help as many people as she can. It's a shame she didn't become that of an official medical profession. Who knows? She would have done quite a bit for this hospital. Just let you know, even though she did help as many people, she still did break the law, and it's still considered vigilantism after all. So there's an investigation happening. Seeing that she didn't go to anyone else's rooms and seems like she only came possibly in this ward and then left as well. So we're gonna try what we can do and find out what's possible. Just wanted to let you know, and we're just glad that a pro hero and a few other pro heroes here will be getting back into business. Just take care of all of you. After the doctor says these words, he soon leaves the room as well. Within, Ida saying, a vigilante doing all of this? I'm grateful for them, but they just broke the law. Within, Tensei saying, I'm grateful, to be honest. I mean, sure, they did break the law, but honestly, I'm happy. Happy that she helped as many people as she can. Personally, if I do have to go, if they have an investigation for her and looking and trying to find her, I wish to help find her as well. Mainly to thank her for giving me back my life. And if she does have to go to jail, I will try to do what I can to lighten her sentence. For somebody like her with a quirk like that, it'd be a shame to just put it away just because of breaking the law for good reasons. With then hearing this, Ida couldn't help but be completely shocked hearing this from his brother. But then again, his older brother, Tensei, has always been more the laid back and is always willing to, and does, always try to keep laws in mind, but he's not afraid to at least, be a little bit laid back on them and not always be a stickler. And remember that this is his idol, the one person that inspired him to be a great and amazing hero. Within soon going back to what he originally planned to do, as then he taking a deep sigh before saying, brother, mother, there's some things I wish to say to all of you. I was about to do something completely and utterly stupid. With then Tensei, alongside their mother, couldn't help but feel somewhat worried as Ida began to explain about his plan during his internship. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. And so, yeah. And hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. Sorry it wasn't too action-packed. Like I said, I only wanted to focus more on, trying to build something for this world. In this what if, to be honest. Building up how much power that the Mage Association actually has. And it's something I've been wanting to do for a while now. You would think with quirks on the rise, you would think that the Mage Association would possibly, die out and all that. But nope, not a chance in hell. You know how mages are. No matter how bad life gets, they always try to find a way to survive. If Grand Order, Apocrypha, and also extras shown me anything, mages will basically think of anything to make sure that that either humanity or their own bloodline continues to live on. So yeah, now Izuku is going to be learning true magic. Is going to be learning how to do other magic craft, especially Shiro's form of tracing. Just letting you guys know this now, I am not a huge Shiro fan. Don't get me wrong, I used to be, but now the guy just annoys the hell out of me. Especially Unlimited Blade Work Shiro. As for Sakura, yes, she's basically a descendant of both Shiro and Sakura basically getting together as well. So yes, in this timeline, and basically Shiro got with not just Ren, but also Sakura. Just letting you guys know this now. If that's what you guys are getting. And their descendants is that of Iris Tosaka, who's currently at the clock tower, and Sakura Emiya, who took up the name of heroic spirit Shiro Emiya's class to become a pro hero for the Mage Association. So yeah. And in the last part, you guys did ask, why not Saber? Well, the reason is because I didn't think that heroic spirits and humans could actually have children after all, even though it's one of the biggest theories I've always thought of, and they never really confirmed it. That was until somebody brought up the fact about that of a light novel called Fate Requiem, where the main character is a mixture between that, who has that of a master of a father and a servant, and that of a servant mother. So yeah, heroic spirit human hybrids are basically a thing. So any of you guys have any ideas on how that's going to affect Izuku with basically currently 3 of his servants that have feelings for him? Yeah, be worried. Be very worried for the Green Cinnamon roll. But even with this knowledge, I've already made my decisions with that of Shiro's descendants after all. So yeah. Any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to keep to date my videos when I upload on the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my other channel, my side channel, my Patreon, and Cash App. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon signing out. Later, guys, and take care. Shiro, you know what to do, my lady.
Hi, everyone. This is White Fox. If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell and check out his playlists. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!